I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody would sign in, make sure you're signed in. And the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the 2021 annual meeting. Should have got a copy on the way in. Are there any additions or corrections?
I lost my pen. Can I borrow one?
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
You need to speak up, please.
Can't hear anything back here.
Is your mic on? Is your mic on?
That's for the TV. That's only
Oh.
for the TV. We're approving the minutes from the 2021 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the minutes from the 2021 meeting as printed. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
You do the oaths.
We have two supervisors that were re-elected. Are you ready for oath of office?
Yes, I am. Supervisor DeGidio and Supervisor Jensen. If you could please stand, please. Repeat after me. I state your name. I state your name.
I, Tom Jensen,
Jimmy DiGidio.
Have been elected to the office of Town of Oakland Board Supervisor.
have been elected to the officer of Town Board Supervisor.
And I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of my office to the best of my ability.
and will faithfully and impartially
Discharge
my
the duties of my office to the best of my ability. So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, gentlemen, you're official.
Okay, then the next item is to swear in the sanitary district supervisor.
John.
You want to step forward?
And how do you pronounce your last name?
That's it.
Adsit. Okay. All right, if you would repeat after me, please. I, John Adsit,
I, John Adson,
having been elected to the office of Oakland Sanitary District Supervisor,
being elected to the office of Oakland Sanitary District Officer,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of my office.
and will faithfully and
Impartially.
impartially
Discharge.
discharge the office of
The duties of my office to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Sign before they go.
Okay, the next item is to take a look at the balance sheet from 2021. The audit is not complete, although the 2021, where it says adopted budget, is the actual numbers from last year on the sheet that you received. We had a total revenues of $1,569,497.84. And we had total expenditures of Total revenue was $1,569,000. The transfer from reserves was $350,000 for a total of $1,919,497.84. Expenditures were $1,770,012.39. Out of that, we had transferred $30,000 to reserves for a total expenditures and reserves of $1,008,000. Any questions on that? Shoot.
The amount of debt that the town of Oakland has for like Ripley Road there.
Long-term debt, that's Ripley Road, is we had $534,546 left. I might add here, we just got approved for a grant for Park Road, which we plan to do next year. And that is a 50-50 grant from the federal government. And as anybody that drives Park Road knows, that baby needs to be fixed. Any other questions on the balance sheet? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the balance sheet from 2021. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
If, Jimmy made the motion, but who seconded it?
Armstrong.
Could I get your name?
Armstrong.
Steve?
Steve Armstrong.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then the next item is to set a date and time for the 2023 annual meeting, and that will be April 18th, 2023, 7 o'clock here at the Town Hall. Next item is residents' comments, questions, and concerns. I know there's been some movement, some people that are thinking they can make a motion to approve or to override the referendum on the fire station. We are bound by a intergovernmental agreement with the 5 municipalities that has to be approved by referendum only. So if that was the reason people came tonight, we'll certainly listen for comments, but a motion like that would not be in order. So any other comments, questions, or concerns?
Can I just ask a question?
Please come up to the mic. Please come up to the mic, please.
Hi, I know that the properties are going to be assessed this year, and I just wondered what the time frame is going to be. I know it's going to be around the lake this particular year, and I was wondering when those letters will go out to homeowners so we can prepare to be available or whatever, because we have a lot of people around here who do not live here full-time, and so they probably will want to know when those letters are going to be mailed out.
We have our assessor here. Maybe you can answer that question.
I can.
No, pay for that.
And that the assessment.
2023 revaluation. Okay, for those who don't know me, my name is John Pounder. I'm the assessor for the town of Oakland. Been the assessor since 2004. And I know there's concern about the upcoming revaluation. We plan to start the viewings for the 2023 revaluation beginning of July. That's after our open books and board of reviews are all completed in the municipalities that we work with. And we will target the area around the lake first so that we can we can hopefully connect with the part-time residents. We are going to be sending out a request to view letter. That letter is going to request you to contact us to schedule a viewing appointment. We will, and you need to know and you need to read that letter that you are, and this is a change in the assessment process, is the letter is going to tell you that by Wisconsin statute, and I have a copy of the pertinent part of that statute, that basically you are not required to allow us to view your property. However, I am required to assess your property. And if I don't have current and accurate information, I have to estimate that from the road. That's going to be a very difficult and painful process for the people who choose not to cooperate, so that we can at least start with adequate and accurate information. I rather doubt that we can have anywhere near reasonable values without current and accurate information. So we're asking for your cooperation so that we at least can start from a good point. I know there's concern about taxes, and I can go through all that if people want me to. Okay, and I'm going to move this up here so I can face the crowd a little better.
The microphone is for the TV. It is not for a sound system in the room.
Okay, I'll try to talk loud enough so everybody can hear me and understand me. Your taxes are a function of the spendings and aids distributions from the state of Wisconsin, Jefferson County, the school district that you're in, and the VOTEC district that you're in, and the municipal government, which is right up here today. They get a prorated portion from the state, the county, the school district, and the VOTEC district that they need to collect. And then they add their budget to it, and that gives you the total dollars that they need to collect. That divided by, and this is a simplified version, but this is basically what it amounts to. That total dollars that they collect is divided by the total assessed value of real and assessable personal property in the municipality. That gives you the mill rate. Then the mill rate is then applied to your assessed value to come up with your tax bill. And I know that's a simplified version of it. That's how it works, basically. So my job, and it's really a function of your town board, and this is my perspective, but it's a reality-based perspective. I'm also a property owner and taxpayer in the state of Wisconsin. The town board has some very important primary functions. One of the most important ones is the governance of the community. That's your local codes, your fire and rescue protection, and ordinances. That's basically their primary function. The next most important function is to see that the distribution of that tax burden is distributed fairly and equitably to all the property owners, so that no one's being treated unfairly. That's my job. They hired me based on my experience and my reputation, I'm assuming. I will try to be as fair as I possibly can. That starts with getting current and accurate information. I would ask you to value my car in the parking lot. It's a 2010 Jeep. Can anybody tell me what it's worth? Well, you might want to know what kind of miles we have on it. You want to know what kind of care it's had under my use. You might want to know if I've got cats or dogs I transport around in it. Those might make a difference. If you don't know that, can you give me an accurate value of that vehicle? Kind of challenging. Try that on a house and 20 acres with a mile and a half driveway that I can't even see the house from. And that is one of my challenges. And that impedes the path to that fair and equitable distribution of the tax burden. So if we could all cooperate and at least get that part right, then we can try to get a fair value. And if you disagree with that value, and I understand you can, and you can appeal to the board. If you're not satisfied with the results there, you have appeal options at circuit court level, which you can carry on to the Supreme Court if necessary at the state of Wisconsin. You also have appeal rights to go to the Department of Revenue 7085 hearings. That's an individual hearing. It's run basically like a board of review where you present your opinion of value and supporting data, and then I support my opinion of value and supporting data, and the experts at the Department of Revenue render a decision based on that information. So there are appeal rights, but it all starts with having accurate information. Beginning of July. John, John, middle initial T, Pounder, Pounder, just like quarter.
Then do we get, I know it's not going to take effect till 2023.
Correct.
So before that, do we get a letter from you stating what the value is before we get our tax bills?
You will get a letter from us in 2023 stating the new assessed value. And that will be for the tax bills that come out in fall of 2023. And that, we will try to put together a simplified formula to show you the increase, overall increase in the entire municipality, so that you have something to judge where you stand in that. We won't know the mill rate for 2023 until all the budgetary processes are done, usually in November, early December. And so it's an unknown before the process starts, and it's unknown till that comes through on the budgeting for the town.
What triggers an assessment?
In this case, the Department of Revenue requires that you be within plus or minus 10% of what they determine the full value of the municipality is. And if you're out of that, you're called non-compliant. They allow 4 years of non-compliance. The 5th year, you will be required to do a state-mandated revaluation. That is a revaluation that the assessor or assessing firm that does that will be hired by the Department of Revenue. They will be supervised by an individual from the Department of Revenue, and they have an equation to do that. Cost is a very minimal part of that equation. They don't care what it costs. That cost, that burden, is put back on the taxpayers in this municipality.
So we're out of compliance?
Yes,
What triggered it?
yes, 2023 is a drop-dead year.
We've been out of compliance for several years. We really are at the point where we
4
have
years.
no choice but to do a reevaluation.
And I know Gene has resisted because it's a costly process.
He's not the only one.
I would assume it's a very difficult job
market, the way it's been the last couple of years, that the prices have really been inflated, and probably much more than realistic. But with a shortage of houses and eager buyers and low interest rates, they've driven up values. So I was in real estate for a while, and I have dealt with appraisers and assessors and banks having given, and I think these are really trying times when people will write many offers over the list price, and that's happening because of the shortage of housing. Well, when you use that data, it's gonna raise everybody's value a lot.
It's called inflation. It's called inflation. Putin's price hike, right?
John, you might mention the hit on the taxes, because if the assessed value goes up, doesn't necessarily mean your taxes are gonna go up if there hasn't been improvements. Okay, let's have order, John.
If the value of the property actually goes down because it wasn't improved or it was in fact not, is actually worth less, does the assessment go down?
If we do a revaluation in a depressed market, the assessed values will be based on the fair market value transactions at that time.
But you're talking about a market, not an individual property.
If
So-and-so's got a house with a garage that's caving in, and it was assessed at $167,000 last year, is there anything that's gonna stop it from being assessed at $180,000 this year?
That's dependent on two things. One is me having accurate information on that property and calling me up and saying, my house is falling apart, is not accurate information. Or calling me up and saying, I'd like to let you come in, but I don't have time because I work from 5 in the morning till 10 at night, 7 days a week. So you're gonna have to work around my schedule. But if I have the accurate information, at least we can get that part right. And if the market information indicates that there's been sales for houses with falling in garages in similar condition to yours, we're gonna use that market information. I don't make up the market gives me the information that I have to use.
So it's just unfortunate that we're in this high market period. I mean, if the housing market collapsed 3 years from now, we're still gonna have the high valuation, even though our houses aren't worth that much anymore.
I'm glad you asked that question, because if that happens, the board needs to make a decision. Do they want to do a complete revaluation again? The problem is, you might seek relief with a lower assessed value, but you're not going to get relief on taxes, because remember, it's that total budget amount that they have to collect that determines your taxes. So if all the properties were devalued by roughly 10%, and the budget amount that they collect goes up by 10%, you're going to have a higher mill rate. Bingo. So it's a twofold process. My question is the information current and correct? Do I have market information that supports my calculated value? And then the other question is, did the spending entity spend more? That's what drives the taxes. Again, the assessment, total assessed value in the municipality divided by the dollars they have to collect gives you the mill rate, and then we apply it to your individual property. In any one given year, any and all property owners can contact us and say, we have concerns about our assessed value. We would like you to review that. We are duty bound by contract to review that. So in your case, if the tree fell onto the garage and finally collapsed it all the way, contact us. We'll review the value and do it based on the current information and the current market information.
So when I fall short, that means everybody else has to be raised
Whereas,
to make up for that deficit.
That's where the
Because
fairness,
Government always spends more and they put you in jail if you don't give it to them.
take me away. Right, it's really a cooperative event. If we have accurate information through your cooperation, we can get to the point where I can value the property based on current values. If you disagree with that, there's relief. And if you want to get concerned about that other part of the equation, start going to the budgeting meetings at whatever level you're concerned about, the spending. If you look at your tax bill, you will see what that is. So I'm going to ask everybody, how many of you people went to the budgeting hearings for your school district? I know. Thank you. But that's a big part of that pie. Right, right. Whether you live in the state or not, you're still paying property taxes based on those budgets.
I'm Ted Brady, one of the town supervisors, and we pointed this out at our meeting when we gave John the contract to do this. There is a very good guide for property owners on the Department of Revenue's website. It will talk about all of the things that John talked about. It'll answer a lot of questions. So if you have the ability to, and it's been updated in 2022, I believe.
Yes, and we have copies in the clerk's
And they have
office.
some copies. I would encourage every one of you to go look at that. That will answer a lot of the questions that you'll have, and then it'll clarify process for you a little bit more than
Okay.
John said.
If I could say one thing, ma'am. Furthermore, I've got a little handout here, the assessment process, and it gives you the websites that you can go and get those printed out from. I didn't bring enough for everybody here, unfortunately, so I'm going to ask Susan to put that available on the shelf and on the website so that you can get that, because it gives you the contact numbers. The Department of Revenue, believe it or not, has also a property tax common questions, which is like a frequently asked questions series. Some of those are very, very good, and they can give you some good guidance. They also have appeal guides to walk you through how to go through the appeal process as a property owner. And those are all useful information. So I'm going to ask Susan to put that information out there so that you can prepare yourself. You had a question back there, ma'am?
Make sure that your link and the reference link that Ted has, if we could have it on the town of Oakland site, maybe on the homepage, considering starting, that would be really great.
Okay, yes, ma'am?
Do you bring a photo ID so we know you're not just Joe Blow when you are, who you say you are?
Yes. Yeah, I'll have a copy of my driver's license and my assessor certification license.
Okay.
And you can always, and if anybody has any concerns, you can always request, and we will bring a member of your local police force with us. No problems.
John, you had one other
When
question.
was the last assessment done and what was the change in the mill rate then to now?
The last assessment was done in 2021. The last revaluation was done in 2010.
And what was the mill rate then at that time?
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can find out and address that question.
I'll have to do a little digging.
Right,
but
you can.
But I can't find
Jefferson
it.
County web, if you go there, I think they have those.
the,
I don't know if they go back that far.
the short answer to this is if the new assessed value goes up, let's say it goes up 15%, which is probably will, because we're down right around 70, I believe, right now, aren't we?
It will probably, I'm sorry to say this, roughly, it might go up as much as 30% overall.
But your tax base, or excuse me, the amount of tax that's owed remains the same, regardless of where that assessed value goes.
The total amount of taxes that they have to collect is not dependent on the total assessed
Exactly.
value in the municipality.
It all depends on what the school does, what the county does, what the town does, what the Lake District does, who's ever on the tax bill. Whatever theirs goes up, that's all it's going to affect. If nothing changes, your taxes won't change if the assessed value goes up 30%. Because if you look at your tax bill, you'll see assessed value, and then you'll see fair market value. And your assessed value, I think, is 77% or 74. I can't remember just what it was. But we've been out of compliance now 3 years. This is the 4th year, and
that
we
was
were not going to have the Department of Revenue come in here and do this assessment for about 3 times what we're going to have to pay John. I mean, he's charging us plenty, but
Gene thought I was trying to get rich off the town of Oakland. I correct him immediately. I'm trying to get richer, not just rich, richer. In reality, it takes a lot of our resources and effort to complete the project. And my rates are very, very competitive. And you have the advantage. I have a pretty good understanding of the municipality, being here since 2004.
this is the 3rd reassessment that John has done for us. So he has a pretty good idea what values are and who the homeowners are and so on.
Any other questions? If you do have any other questions, Susan has our email. You can email the questions, and we will respond to them. Right now, please do not expect an immediate response, because we're deep into the open book and data for that, and then into board of reviews. But we will get back to you. And I'm going to give Susan another handout that says property tax questions. And that goes through the basic formula that I was talking about earlier and Jean was just talking about, so that you can help understand how the taxes are generated.
Okay, any other
Any questions from the board?
concerns or questions?
In the back here.
Yes.
No, not for that, not for the property taxes.
Okay. Thank you. I may seem a little blunt, but I'm trying to make the point. I'll help you, you help me, and if we disagree, we'll let them resolve it.
Can't tell you at this point. I don't think any decision's been made. That's gonna have to. Well, it's gonna have to come down from the fire commission and then direct it to the town board.
Where's it stand right now?
Wait a minute, I thought that's what the referendum was, where we said no by a 96 vote.
That's right.
So why are we gonna have another referendum if we are gonna have one?
We don't know if we're gonna have one. We do know that we need, know that we need some improvements at that fire station.
But isn't that the neglect of the village of Cambridge for not maintaining their fire station, which we pay almost half of?
That's not the village of Cambridge's fire station.
Who's fire department is it?
5 municipalities. We own 50% of that fire station.
Then why haven't we, or the board has noticed, have you gone past the fire station and looked at the condition it's in? The outside, I mean, the outside can be easily,
We've been working on this fire station project for 8 years now. The first estimate we had was $11 million. That was in 2016. And that was probably out of the question. Not only that, it was on a new lot outside of town in a new area where the Quick Trip is going now, or a new one. That's the lot they were gonna put it on. So we took that off the agenda and started working on something else. And well, we don't have a microphone.
You wanna buy a remote mic? I got a couple of them at home, I can sell you.
Gene, maybe if you stand.
Question here?
I just have a question. I'm sorry if I'm showing my ignorance, but why, when the referendum is put on the ballot, it's indicated clearly that it's a non-binding referendum, but then you just a few minutes ago indicated that you're bound by agreements with 4 other municipalities to not override that. It just sounds misleading to me, and I'm sorry if I'm showing my ignorance.
That's not showing your ignorance at all.
Can I help you here for a minute?
Go ahead. The IGA I was talking about involves the purchase of the property of the where the pizza pit sits. Town of Christiana purchased that property for that specific purpose. The fire commission didn't have the money to do it, didn't want to levy the various municipalities for it. Christiana had the money to do it, so they did it for that reason. But they did it with the IGA, intergovernmental agreement, that we would reimburse them for that. That's where, and in that IGA it says that will happen with all 5 municipalities passing a referendum to build a new station and purchase that property.
But we didn't pass it.
Can I ask you a question? With all of the referendums on my ballot, there were 2 referendums. One for the one we're talking about and one for the city of Fort Atkinson.
Right.
Okay, the city of Fort Atkinson, what is it called? The people that put the referendum on, the city council.
Right.
Okay. I can't vote for them. They're on another sheet. But I get, was Fort Atkinson and this one on all of?
Only those in the Fort Atkinson Fire District.
Right, and it's put in there by the city Atkinson, the 4 of City Atkinson City Council, but the ballot next to mine had their names. That's taxation without representation. I can't vote them people in or out. But I end up with 2 referendums on about 2 fire stations. One for Fort Atkinson, I think, was over 8 million, and whatever this one was. So if both of these would have went through, I can't even vote. I don't think I can vote for the people in Cambridge, and I can't vote for the people in Fort Atkinson. But they can tax me on both of them. That's taxation without representation.
Well, I guess I don't follow that.
What I'm saying
You're-
is,
you're-
when I looked at on the bulletin board back there, it showed different, and I had, I think, a purple, one card was purple. Okay, and on there, and the one right next to it had the city council members. Looked on ours, no Fort City council members. Didn't see, I don't remember ever voting for any city council members in.
That referendum in Fort Atkinson was not for the fire station. That was for paramedic firefighters. They're going to take over the ambulance service at the fire station instead of Ryan Brothers. So it really has nothing to do with the building in Fort Atkinson.
Well, I don't want to show my ignorance, but I don't know about $8.5 million. It was seemed like more than that. Just, I'm going by what the Jefferson County newspaper, because I can't go to a city council meeting. See, I can come here, but
But-
it's a township.
Right.
I can't go to the Fort Action City Council meeting.
But I don't understand where you're, where you think you're getting taxed by the city of Fort Atkinson. You're not. You're not getting taxed for that. The city of Fort Atkinson,
Well, if there was a referendum, the referendum went through.
I know.
in Fort Atkinson.
Right.
Okay, so you're telling me I'm not gonna get taxed for that?
Only what's on our balance sheet, our portion that we pay to the city of Fort Atkinson for their fire service. That's all you're gonna pay.
Right. And it was put on there by the city council of Fort Atkinson.
I understand that.
Okay.
And anybody in the Fort Atkinson Fire District is going to get taxed for that.
And we should be able to vote for who's,
Are you on the city of Fort Atkinson, are you on the Fort Atkinson Fire District?
well, we must be, we gotta be in both of them. We got a referendum for both of them.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so how can you get a referendum for this and the city of Fort Atkinson?
But that is not for the city of Fort Atkinson. That is for paramedics and firefighters that take care of a big part of our territory out here in the west, in the east.
I'm just wondering if everybody else in Oakland Township got both of those referendums.
Anybody in the Fort Atkinson Fire District got that ballot. We had, how many?
We did not have a referendum for the firehouse.
What's it doing on the,
It was not.
for the fire station?
For the fire station, yes, but for Fort Atkinson, no.
For the Fort Atkinson paramedics? Well,
It
and
seems to me like they were talking about adding,
I was thinking that was only for the city of Fort Atkinson. I don't think that was for any residents out here.
no, I believe the city of Fort Atkinson was talking about adding, personnel.
Right, for their fire department.
Did you have a ballot that had that question on, yes or no? To the ballot you have, it had for the Oakland, for the Cambridge area fire, on your ballot.
Yeah.
Was there a separate question for Fort Atkinson?
There
On your
was
ballot,
two separate referendums
on your ballot.
on the ballot. That's what I'm saying. And I can't, and so when I can't vote for the people that are putting this referendum
Danny's
on
gonna
my
go to
ballot,
ballots. I don't think.
that's taxation without representation.
I don't think you had a ballot like that. In the city of Fort
Well, I can tell
Atkinson, they
you the
did.
number on my sheet, and I can tell you.
We're gonna get the ballots. We'll take a look at it. You had a question back here?
Yeah, see, there was multitudes of ballots.
There's
offered.
eight different ballots in this town
And when I
for
look
many
over-
different,
When I look over and see the one
Yeah.
that is affecting me, but I can't vote for the people who are initiating it, then I gotta ask myself, you said here, these people just supposed to follow the Constitution.
They're checking on it.
Okay,
She's
and-
checking on it.
And if you took a referendum and you voted, I mean, you know, people were different, everybody, I'm not asking, this is bipartisan, but if we could do a do-over on the president, or a governor, or a senator, some people would rather like to have, I didn't get who I wanted, I want to have
well,
a
let's
referendum.
not ramble here. You got a question back here?
I believe that what he's referring to is there's certain agreements where you're probably covered by both, and that's why he has that ballot, but he doesn't vote for the people that are governing that.
Well,
I think where the
that's
confusion
true.
is coming.
We have three different fire districts in this township. We got Jefferson over here in the northeast. We got Fort Atkinson in the southeast and southern part, and we got Cambridge. And it's divvied up by equalized value in the area that's they're served. So did you have a question over here?
question, are we gonna go through a referendum, who's gonna make the decision? There's a lot of people that didn't understand your answer, if there was an answer.
Well, right now, I can't give you an answer, because I don't know what's gonna happen next.
When will something happen? When's the next meeting?
First week in May, we're having a fire commission meeting.
So they can decide,
Where at?
We're gonna be talking about it. I'm not sure what we do out here. We only get 40% of the people voting. It's doggone disappointing to be sitting up here owning 50% of the fire department and knowing we need all these changes there, and we can't get it passed. I'm convinced that we had, I can't hear.
Oakland went and voted, pay or nay, and now you're saying the commission's gonna make the decision of the hay or nay?
No. It's got to be done by all five municipalities. Right now, nothing's going to happen.
They're gonna outrule the almost 50%?
What's that?
Then you'd have to, because they have 51%.
I can't hear you. Do you want to come up to the mic? You want to come up to the mic, please? Okay, let's have some order here.
Hi, I'm Becky, and I live in Cambridge, and I'm just wondering, while you guys are figuring the referendum stuff out, is anybody going to go to Invenergy and say, you've just gotten 6,000 acres of our land that we have to cover, what are you gonna pay for this? Like, I feel like that's a pretty good step in the right direction of relieving the taxpayers a little bit.
Would be nice.
So, who would do that? Like, should I go talk to Invenergy? Because I will.
Well, it's mostly in the town of Christiana, so I guess we let them talk to them about it.
Well, but Mark's gone.
What's that?
They're not paying for the firehouse.
Shared revenue from the electric.
Right.
So they don't really have
So
to
they don't
balance
care.
it here.
I just feel like 6,000 acres of what could blow up is a lot of space, and there should be some risk analysis for them. And
Well,
they should have
we're
it covered.
we're in Oakland, and we don't have Invenergy here, so I'm
So
not.
can I go and
Sure you
approach
can.
them, even though I'm not on a border
Why
commission?
why not?
Perfect.
Hey, let's have some order.
I was the medical director at the town of Weston near Wausau. We serviced over 10,000 area residents. I was a volunteer instructor and the medical director of that department. We would have loved to have had it to, what they put out, but can't do it, we couldn't do it. I think it needs to be downsized more and more of what's absolutely needed and not some of the frills. There were a lot of frills in the designs that I saw.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Sure.
Christiana bought the property by Pizza Pit. Did we okay that? Who okayed that?
Well, Christiana bought it.
Okay, but you, didn't I understand that you said we have to pay them back for that?
Yeah, that would be part of the building process. That's part of that $6 million referendum we passed.
Well, why can it be their donation to the fire department since they don't pay taxes?
But they bought it without our consent, right?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't ours. We signed
It wasn't ours to,
concede.
yeah.
They bought it. The 5 municipalities agreed to buy it when we build a new fire station. That's what the intergovernmental agreement was.
Which was on the contract, on the agenda for town board meetings.
What's that?
The approval of
Yes.
that contract was on the town board meeting,
Right.
which was publicly noticed.
Kim's got a question.
You got someone back here with a question?
Let's get this one first.
Gene, the first question I have, if, let's say that the referendum never passes, what happens to that property?
They can sell it to anybody.
So it's theirs, they
Yeah.
can do with what they want.
Right.
with it. We are not bound to it in any way.
No, not unless we build a fire station.
Okay, I understand, thank you.
I guess I didn't ask the right question.
Back here.
So the town of Christiana purchased it without a vote, so that was done illegally, and it's forcing us to do that? I don't think all of us even know that, which is not really fair to us when it wasn't purchased with a vote. So they didn't do it properly, and we shouldn't be held accountable for a choice that they did, and it's affecting all of us.
We aren't being held accountable unless we build a fire station.
But yeah.
If,
So why do you continue back here? We're trying to still hear. It sounds as if you're saying it's still going to happen when everybody here is saying we voted against it. So we just want a little explanation. Could you stand up when you talk so we can hear you better?
right now, there is nothing going to happen.
Right, but in May something is going to happen and we still don't quite understand what you're telling us is happening in May?
In May is a fire commission meeting. Somebody asked me when our next fire commission meeting was. I said it's May.
And you said that something is happening at that meeting?
We'll discuss it. I have no
Discuss
idea.
what, though? We need to know what you're discussing.
And is it an open meeting?
Certainly it's an open meeting. They all are.
For everybody that knows.
But what's being discussed at the meeting? So right now you're at a stalemate because you had the referendum voted down twice by Oakland.
Right?
The next meeting, you said at this point, you don't know what's happening next. 95% of the people here are here because they need to know what's next. You've told us in May there's a fire commission meeting. What are they doing at that meeting?
We have quarterly fire commission meetings. We don't know what's going to be on that meeting yet at this point. We'll certainly discuss this. But there won't be a decision made there. The
So I
decision
think
has to be,
what people are worried about is that if we don't show up at the fire commission meeting, there could be a vote by the board or whoever, and we're unaware of it again, and now it's overridden the referendum that was voted down twice.
no.
You're not saying a very clear answer, you're just saying, I don't know what's gonna happen at the meeting. We don't know yet, we won't know till, and that's fine, you may not, but the people that are here because they wanna know, because it's a very gray area, and it feels like the vote hasn't been honored, and you're just going to keep coming up with a new referendum or a new way to get this passed through so that you get the 5th municipality on board. I don't know what's happening. Do you want 95 people showing up at every meeting from here on out? Because until we have a clear path of this is what comes next, here's what we would like to do, residents. We're gonna talk about this at this meeting, we'll have a discussion at that, you can have the open mic at that point. We want to know what's happening next, because I can't speak for everyone. I don't want something happening behind closed doors, when it's not, it's an open meeting if you know where it is and when to go. And then I'm out of a say, because I wasn't there and I didn't know. And now something I've voted against twice, I'm being forced to accept, even though the majority of the residents who voted against it. At what point did the residents of Oakland, when they said they're done, they don't want this anymore, is it dead? And we don't have to worry about this.
The fire commission does not make that decision. The fire commission would make a recommendation, and it's put up before the town board as to what they do next. That's not been done at this point. Right now, we're at a stalwart. Nothing's gonna happen. And if we want to continue with the present fire station, I'm not sure what's going to happen, because frankly, we've outgrown that. We have an unsafe environment in there. If you had a husband that was a firefighter, or if you were a firefighter, and you get into turnout clothes, go out and fight a fire. These houses are made with glue today. There's a lot of contaminants there. There's asbestos they run into. We have no way of cleaning that stuff. They take the stuff off. They still got it on their clothes. They're bringing it home. That's not right.
I understand the emotional side to that. I'm not
That's not emotional.
What
That's
I'm
real.
saying is,
But isn't the fire station, shouldn't it have the necessary decontamination, like laundry service there?
Never did.
Never did.
Never
Then
did.
Why do we need to spend 6.3?
Why do we need apartments?
Yeah.
Just get a decon unit. You can buy them on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Use for the government.
You got a question back here?
confusion lies possibly, and maybe this is because it was a non-binding, and people are just, I guess that's probably the gray area, because we want to know exactly, what does that mean, how, if anything's going to happen because of that non-binding agreement, because there are things that can be done. So I think people just want some type of, and yes, they post all the meetings for fire commissions, meeting and ask any questions. So I don't think it's necessarily behind closed doors. I think that's, something to be said, but I think that's probably the item that is confusing.
Well, there's certainly,
On the bulletin board here, probably.
Where is it posted?
It's posted, I believe you could answer that, Susan, right?
The fire commission meetings are posted in the bulletin board right outside the door here.
Do you think we could post up, you have that beautiful website, is there any way that we could post a lot of that either on your website? That would be really great. Because I know the fire commission.
Will, for the fire commission?
That's what she's asking.
You're asking to have the fire commission meetings listed on the website like our other meetings are.
Oh, yeah.
What if you don't have the internet? Then we have to come here to find out?
It's posted here at the town hall. We post it at Herring's Lake Ripley Inn, and we also post it at the Cambridge Post Office.
Where would the fire commission post their agendas?
At the fire station.
At the fire station.
It's posted at each of the 5 municipalities and at the fire station. No.
I'd like to make a comment that from the tone of the meeting I get here is that most people are against the proposed expense of it is, even though it's been gone down. I think that we will agree that there can be some upgrades, but we'd like to see something between the upgrades that are needed in the proposal. I think anytime you go to an architect and tell them what you want, they're gonna come back with really a nice thing until you look at the cost. I think that's what the citizens have done. They looked at the cost and said, we may need some upgrades, but do we need a $6 million upgrade? And are we looking at that much of the future? Reading the newspapers, you see all communities are wrestling with this EMT situation, the same as you just said happens in Fort Atkinson. So that if we build something with an idea of the EMTs, who knows what's gonna be the next move on that? Our world is changing so fast to have a 5-year plan or 10-year plan is a little difficult in the times we live in. So my suggestion would be at the next commission meeting, you look at what can we do that way the people are liable to back and not keep having referendums. That's something that would
Jean, I also have a question. So the commissioner says yes to the station and to, discussing this vote. Then it goes back to the board. Once it goes back to the board, then what happens? The board decides, or you bring it to vote again?
The board will make the ultimate decision if a referendum goes on a ballot in the future.
So we really have no say?
Pardon me?
Aren't you saying that there has to be a referendum and it has to be voted for by everybody?
Right.
So they can't just go and do it, they have to go and do a referendum
Right.
that we have to vote for.
But there could be a referendum every year.
Yeah, so are you gonna just keep referenduming us to death? That we have to keep coming and, no offense, I'd like to go on vacation sometimes too.
Well,
And not be here.
the referendum dollars, if you look at what the station needs, probably is just going to go up. I mean, it makes sense. Look at this year is 8% inflation rate already. The 6.5 that we proposed a year ago was between 7.1 and 7.2 a year later. This isn't going to get any cheaper. Back there, Janae.
What's the potential growth of the area here, of Cambridge, Oakland? I mean, do we have a lot of expansion going on with real estate, with subdivisions?
Oh, we got a proposed subdivision right across the road in Oakland that could be 100 residents.
Okay, so we're looking at a population of 100 more.
No, that would,
100 homes.
100 dwelling places, some of which are multifamily, some of which are duplexes, and some of which are single family.
Maybe 500 people.
Okay, how do we?
I would go deal 500-600.
Some
Maybe
towns
it's not
get
gonna be 2,000.
sealed in, you know.
No, it's not gonna
We
be,
got like 3,300 or 800.
Yeah.
Is the solar farm gonna kind of seal us in? It'll affect the village, won't it? The solar farm, won't that kind of seal us in a little bit in the area?
It'll seal Cambridge in to the west, not necessarily to the south, but to the west.
So the west will be sealed. So I'm just questioning, you know, the need for that big of an expansion if we're, you know, not gonna grow that much in the next 10 years. Nobody knows, but.
I just wanted to add some more. I mean, I respect these firefighters and EMTs. They do a hard job. It's difficult. They need the best conditions they can have, you know. And I made runs with all these guys. I was out seeing what they faced. It's tough. But I also remember, and most of these people, anybody who was an adult in 1980 realizes the economic conditions at that time. There were over 4 million foreclosures on houses. Who pays that difference if those houses aren't resold? That's added on to everybody else's, is that correct?
Good point.
You know, yeah, so they gotta make it up somewhere. We're in hard times coming up, and if anybody denies that, just wait a couple of years. It's gonna be difficult. This isn't gonna be turned around, you know, it's only temporary, it's only transit, no, it's not. We've been through this before, we know it's coming, I know it's coming. It's gonna be difficult times, and people on fixed income, it's gonna be the most difficult. If you can go out and work harder, you know, you're at the age where you can work harder, have another job or something, it's not as bad, it's still bad, but it's not like individuals, a lot of people in this community who are on fixed incomes, it's difficult.
I hear you. I'm on fixed income.
I don't think anyone is saying we don't want something. I think what we're saying is we want something we can afford that doesn't tax us out of our home.
Exactly.
I would never not want to have fire and EMS at my disposal. Like, I value them and respect them. I can't even contribute if you've now, with the new reassessment coming in, you've added this on, and now I'm taxed out and I'm selling, like,
You
I
gotta,
don't think we wanna lose our homes over this.
you gotta understand, the reassessment is not gonna affect your tax bill.
Right away.
Not till 2020.
Well, it isn't. You got, if you heard when John was making his presentation, if our assessed value in the town goes up 30%, the amount of taxes that the school, town, state, all that doesn't change. That will just go on a bigger number. It's gonna be the same amount on the bottom unless you got some improvements on your home or something of that sort. But bottom line is, the tax bill doesn't change because you got reevaluated.
Everybody's house goes up 25%, there's no change at all. It's just the marginal difference between good, it's all
Exactly.
better houses or as people have done more improvement. Because the dollars are static in terms of what we gotta pay in terms of that.
And we all have to pay that same budget that you come up with, that
Correct.
piece of that pie, we all
Right.
have to pay that, and the mill rate is adjusted to that.
That's
right?
adjusted to that, correct.
Right, but if my property value is assessed higher and this gets passed, I'm taxed on what my, like, however many are in my household, we get back per head. That adds on to my tax bill if they pass that referendum and they add us to the municipality.
No.
How do you pay for it
That's-
then if you're not taking it from my taxes?
You'll be part more in the budget, you have to have more in the pie to pay for, right?
You're not adding 10,000 more residents. We're all having to pay more into the pie
No.
if you're increasing the budget.
We have to borrow more money, right?
Yeah, it's borrowed money.
We're in an inflation because people printed money. You can't make it out of thin air. It has to come from somewhere. It's going to come from our pocketbooks. You can say we're not gonna pay more, but that's not true. You increase the budget, we have to pay more in to cover that budget.
If you're correct. If we increase the budget.
So then your taxes are going up.
What, what I was saying is, today's budget, if your assessed value is 30% higher than it is today, with our current budget, taxes will not change. If you build a fire department, then it's going to.
So Gene, I have a question. So if there are so many people that are opposed to this, why not do one of two things? Why not sell the property back to Christiana or let them have it back and they can sell it? Or why not redesign this plan that you have that is so exorbitant? Just redesign it and bring in what you basically need, bare bones minimum, and then build on that and make people happy. It's an idea.
Okay.
Can I address that as a taxpayer, please? Full disclosure, I'm former first assistant chief on the fire department. And, our original referendum was $6.5 million, it was a 40-year plan. We spent years coming up with this plan, we projected as best we could. We decided at the time that the taxpayers' dollars were best spent getting the square footage we may need in 40 years, getting the envelope built, and then having a simple structure that we could easily modify and change. Okay? That was gonna cost us, what was it, $56 per 100,000? I got so many numbers bouncing around in my head. That got defeated. So then a citizens group spent the summer sifting and winnowing and looking for reduction. And there's a couple plans that were suggested that at the end of the day, what they ended up doing is blacking off about 6,000 square feet off the station in coming up with this conceptual plan that you all saw a diagram of for the second referendum. The idea being is the only way we're gonna save money is by cutting the square footage, correct? I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Everything else is just a placeholder. Whatever you heard about how many bathrooms were in the second plan was all a bunch of lies, because everybody who said that knew that that was just a conceptual plan. There are no blueprints for the second referendum. There never were. It was just simply to give you people something to wrap your head around, understand what we were looking at. Okay? Now with that said, with the cost increase, the referendum amount ended up saving me, if it would have passed, about $12 a year, and I got about 2/3 the fire station from my money. And I'm already 2 years behind on paying for this. And as a person who hates taxes, that really cheeses me. Okay? Now here we are again. You're all talking about wanting something you can afford and saving money. So if we go back to the drawing board right now, because of the other referendums, the most we could go for is 6.3. You don't want that, right? So let's say we whack it down to 5.3. By the time this comes to referendum go, we're gonna be back up to 6.3. I might save another $12 a year in taxes on this fire station. We're gonna end up with half of what we started. And then I'd also like to address growth. I've been on this department, on the fire department alone since '96. I've seen 2 schools built, 4, 5, 6 subdivisions maybe. There's a rick house coming with millions and millions of gallons of jet fuel. That's what whiskey is, it's ethanol. Right? We've got, we're not listening open. We've got the pipelines came through. No hazards there, you know. Oakland isn't doing anything to increase the risk for the fire department. And the assessed valuation and the population's increased. And we're building candle wicks
and we're stacking them on top of each other around the lake. I mean, these are, you're not believing the speed with these fires travel. And you know, we're still volunteer. Just hanging in there. You know what the payroll was for 40 firefighters, chiefs, and assistant chiefs, and officers for your fire department last year? $12,500. $12,500. That's it. I think our budget request to the commission for the fire department, I think it was like $70,000. And I'm sitting in this room and I'm listening to people talk about this and talk about that, and I'm wondering, with all these municipalities, all these taxes, all the different taxes you're paying, I wonder who else is selling French toast, selling raffle tickets, selling pancakes to help reduce your taxes. How much does the judge in the town of Oakland, how many bratwursts does she sell to pay for the court?
And how many 7-story ladder trucks do we need in Cambridge? I'm not saying I'm against it, but
we do not have a 7-story ladder truck. There has been no serious discussion about a 7-story ladder truck. Anybody that talks about future planning on a fire department is gonna talk about quitting. But if we mention a ladder truck once, it becomes part of the citizens' record that, oh, they're getting a ladder truck, you watch.
Okay, but, you're putting, and granted, I want you to see the best, and I've worked with many fire departments in Waukesha County, from municipalities to the lowest one. I've seen how they run their buildings, I've seen how they've gone through, they do just like you do. But, we have to look at a time now where inflation is going skyrocketing. Most of the people here are residents of over 10, 20 years here in the small community of Cambridge, okay? Or village of Oakland, town of Oakland, whatever. God, give me my right address. I'm just saying that as a volunteer, you do it because you love the job. You don't get paid. If I go volunteer for something, I don't get paid for donating my hours and time and stuff like that. I have no problem giving you that stipend of $10 to help you with the gas, to go per hour, to go to the training. But we don't need a training facility, we don't need bedrooms. If the EMS, hold on, if the EMS shifts are on a 24-hour day, what other communities have done has popped it into 12-hour shifts. So they're not spending a full day at the station, needing to sleep and rest. You can, because like you said, volunteers aren't coming. Jefferson, Fort Atkinson, Lake Mills, everybody's bitching about no volunteers. You know what? Maybe it's the leadership. Maybe you guys have to do something. Maybe get the high school community involved. You can have junior firefighters at 16. Have them come in and help do some of the cleaning, some of the regular work that I don't know. And I shouldn't say because I've only lived here for 22 years. But I've been a resident of Jefferson County for 54. So I think that, we're paying, what, $400,000? We just made a loan, is that correct? To help pay for the Jefferson and Fort fire stations or something?
No.
Or fire equipment?
No.
What was that?
We didn't borrow any money for Fort and Jefferson. We borrowed money for our general budget.
The general budget? Okay.
Yes.
But we have 1.8 in reserve? No? Did I read that wrong?
They're different reserve accounts. I don't know what the total is.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, let's, you threw this on us like it was, oh my God, we're having a bigger fire station, you're building a bigger fire station than Fort Atkinson, for God's sakes. That, they have Joneses, they have Space Savers, they've got so many bigger corporations that can assist the tax base. We don't.
Who told you that our station is bigger than Fort Atkinson?
You 23,000 square feet, right? What was the?
Have you been to Fort Atkinson station?
Yes, I have.
Okay, you know that they're gonna need a second station in less
Yes,
than
they will, but they've got the community to support that second station. We don't have to have a Taj Mahal.
Hey, let's shut that down. I'll take your concerns to the fire station, to the fire commission, at our next meeting in May, and, we can discuss it. You had a question back here yet?
Yeah, Chris Fry, I just wanted to ask you, Gene, so you're gonna meet with the fire commission in May. If they decide that there could be another referendum, when will it be, November?
They aren't gonna decide if there's gonna be another referendum. That's up to the town board to decide that.
But
If
it
we-
would have to come to another referendum.
At this point, it would.
And how soon could that happen?
Could happen in May, excuse me, not May, November.
Okay.
Probably not at the primary.
My last question is there at any point in time when this becomes a binding vote and not an unbinding vote?
Well, right now, it is binding, simply because
What I mean by binding is if we don't have to face it again 6 months later, decide to bring it back, it's just gonna be open.
well,
No?
probably not.
So you're saying it could never be open?
Probably not.
Okay. Just wanna know.
I have a question.
Go ahead. Got the mic.
Well, here we go. How did the town of Oakland end up paying half of the budget, operating budget for the fire department?
It's based on equalized value. Equalized value in the 5 municipalities that have that own the fire commission or own the fire department. The total equalized value, we have 50% of that.
And that 50% equates to paying for 1/2 of the building construction?
Certainly. So our building.
Everything, half of everything.
Yes, but how can a budget, operating budget, be used to build a building? That's like you're two separate things.
I don't understand. We own the building now.
Yes.
We own 50% of the building now.
Yes.
If we're gonna expand, then we're gonna have to pay 50% of the expansion.
I was just wondering why the village of Cambridge, who receives a whole lot of property tax dollars from the town of Oakland, either the library, the other school, another school, and everything else, and they seem to sit and serve all these buildings to generate income through water and sewer and whatnot, and why aren't they paying half the building?
Because their equalized value is only 25% of the total.
Does that include the winery and the brick house and all that stuff? Is that all included in the village of Cambridge?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Whatever the equalized value is in the village of Cambridge.
It doesn't, the threat of having the, what did he call it, an atom bomb or whatever?
No, it's,
Sitting there, everything got blown out?
No. Equalized value. You had a question.
Yep, I did. Just need clarification on the little flyer that we got there. Did you read that?
I
Did you
did.
see that flyer? Okay. So there is a point here, it says, who can overturn the results of a no vote? And in this paragraph, it says if there is a motion to overturn the referendum at the town meeting, and it does go to a vote of the electors present, there's a chance it could be overturned absent a legal challenge. So is that true, or is that not true?
It would be true if we didn't have the land issue. We're bound by a referendum with the purchase of the Pizza Pit property. That's where we're bound by.
So there's no chance the board can vote without a
The
referendum?
board wouldn't vote. The board does not make that decision. The electors make that decision. That's why we have electors meetings.
Thank you.
If the town of Christiana sells that property, and then that's not an issue anymore, then we could have an elector meeting and pass whatever we needed to pass, or put it up for a referendum or whatever. But right now, we're bound by that referendum.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Regarding the town hall, this committee putting questions on the referendum, about the referendums to the voters. If I recall properly, a meeting or two ago, we were here, there was discussion about whether or not we would put the question of 5.3 million or whatever it was on the referendum, on the ballot for referendum. So it's entirely possible for the people, I'm asking a question, it's entirely possible for the elected folks we have sitting here in front of us, if the fire commission comes back and says, we looked at this and let's just say 6 million or whatever it is the new number, these people here in front of us, our elected folks, can still say no and not put it on a referendum. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay. I want to be crystal clear about that. You guys can say
I would,
no.
I would hope,
with
I
no.
would respond this way, though. I would hope we wouldn't have a board in the town of Oakland that would not support updating that fire station.
Sure, but you have the ability to say we want to do it, but not for this, because our voters won't take this.
Right.
Okay, because I seem to remember that exact conversation happening a month or two ago, and now here we all are. Okay, thank you.
Oh. Okay.
I'm speaking with a lot of folks in this community, and I don't think anybody's against updating it to a degree. I think it's the expense of what they do and how elaborate it's gonna be.
Yes.
Has there been more than one architect or whatever that's gone through this, from other communities that's gone through this? I mean, that's a lot, I don't know.
In 2015, we hired a firm out of La Crosse to design a fire station on 5 acres of property west of town. That Todd Schultz was going to develop. And he was going to donate 5 acres of land, so we wouldn't have had to purchase land. Their estimate on that fire station was $11 million. So we said that's unacceptable. So we went out, put it out for bids from somebody else. We had 3 different architects come in. 2 of them were general contractors. Their estimates were higher than what Keller's were, which is a what do you have? Design build, which puts out bids for us, for the fire commission, on all the different projects in that building, and then we make the decision as to who gets the contract. So the Keller does not build the building. They just they do the design build for it.
Well, have they searched for designers that have worked in small communities?
Well, they all work with small communities.
Huh?
They all work with small communities.
The way they propose this, I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not a voting member in your community, but I have a great deal of experience. I'm assessed in 4 municipalities currently, and they're all going through a very similar struggle with fires and rescue services. The first thing that the people need to understand is the town board is bound by state statute to provide their citizens with fire and rescue protection. And furthermore, you're fortunate to have an active and good situation where the town has some say in how the fire and rescue services are managed. Town of Harmony in Rock County was being serviced by, it's a small collar municipality on the northeast side of Janesville and just south of Milton. They were being serviced by part of the city of Janesville and part of the Milton Town and Milton City Fire Department. They struggled with this because the city of Janesville is raising their rates by over 80% 3 years in a row. Extreme burden ends up, they have pooled now with the city of Milton, town of Milton, town of Lima, town of Johnstown, Harmony, and Fulton and Edgerton to build their own fire stations and their own over what they were being charged. You have some control, but as citizens, you have to be forward-looking enough to, one, understand that these needs are very dynamic. The training requirements with technology and improvements in techniques are there. Staffing is a challenge, and needs of the community are changing. It's a very dynamic situation. And if you don't have any forward perception other than what's my tax bill next year, you're going to find out what's my tax bill 10 years from now. It's going to kill you because you won't be able to hire people to work in a defunct station. You've got to look at everything and get it in perspective. And that's for me as an outsider, because I've seen this in the municipality I live in, these 4 other ones, and another municipality I own property in. And they've all gone through the same struggle. And the ones that weren't proactive are trying to get there now because they're paying the price for not being in the past.
I don't disagree with anything you said. The only thing I would say is the gentleman that spoke in the back that said they started with a 40-year plan is that we're not in a situation we make 40-year plans anymore. Not the way the world's changing.
But
And the way
you
the
have to be
EMT
forward-looking
situation, if we
because of
looked
this
at a
employment
5-year
situation.
plan and what it would cost would be more realistic than looking at a 40-year plan.
But I'm sorry, sir, you have to be on that. City of Elkhorn, going to a full-paid staff department. They service some of the surrounding municipalities. How does it feel when you're just contracting services from them? You're like a pocket.
And the same with the EMTs, or you could get together and we could have an EMT service that would service Deerfield and Lake Mills and Cambridge and be centrally located. Maybe that's gonna be the answer. That's a big part of this, the EMT part.
And
Yeah, 'cause we
like I
can't
said, it's
guarantee
very
the
dynamic.
volunteers are gonna be there.
Yeah.
It's
You build
very
$6 million.
dynamic. And so if you want control and you want to have influence, you have to look beyond what's my tax bill now. It's also what's my tax bill down the road. And some of I sat through some of it, and some of the expenses sound excessive, but there's some people that are forward-looking, and maybe you gotta reel that in, but you have opportunities to, and truly are open meetings. The fire commission and board meetings are open. I come to these board meetings, and some nights, there's one citizen here.
I think it's time for you to stop talking.
Okay, that's-
Thank you, though.
Okay, I'll take your concerns back to the fire commission at our meeting in May. And we'll have a discussion on it, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it more. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Alan. R-O-O-S-T.
Right, Bruce.
And then.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Good, guys.
Hey, all right, Jerry.
And who
Looking good.
made the motion? Do you know who made the motion?
You know what, I don't know that. It came from back there. I think it was,
Alan Bruce second.
yeah, who's this gal? What's her name? Used to be on the planning committee.
Bart Mack.
Her husband.
Don Last. Okay. Don? Yeah. Richard Gulson made the motion to adjourn. Who did? Richard Gulson. Richard, G-U-L-S-E-T-H. Okay. Thank you, Joy. Okay.
We got an hour. Susan, we're all sitting around here? I'll bring the chairs up around here.
We can if people clear out, we can move things around just a little bit.
We can move that table, we could move that one. But, or we could crowd around maybe. It's not gonna be a long meeting. Yeah, let's just crowd around.
Let's see. And then,
Hey. We'll do it right here. Okay, we're gonna call our regular meeting to order.
I hope I didn't step on your toes. But they didn't like the comment, but they really gotta look beyond their nose.
I'm ready to quit. Fuck it. This is nuts.
Town of Harmony, I'm not kidding, they had 70% increases from the city of Greenville, and they didn't have a vote, because they were just a service contractor.
Well, yeah, that's what happens with your
Because
contract.
they weren't forward-looking.
Yeah.
You did well. You did well with us.
Yeah, it's, you know, what did, somebody told me at the last meeting, he says, that's what you're paid the big wages for. It's about the same as a fireman.
Yeah.
So my only 2 cents is, how much, do they know how much it'd be to refurbish what they currently have?
I can hear you.
How much would it be for them to refurbish what they currently have? Instead of $1 million?
Well, we don't have the room. We gotta get more room for vehicles. We don't have any place for 24-hour staff to stay. We don't have adequate office space. We don't have any training area.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah, well, I don't know what we're gonna do now.
If we do it stages.
Yeah, but then it's every year. That's the problem with that. That's every darn year.
But I always thought that people have sections every year.
Well, it might be, that's true.
Because they're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because you still give it the same effect. It's just taking longer to get there.
I'm trying to get the door shut.
Yeah,
There's no mosquitoes.
It's cold.
okay, we're gonna call the regular meeting to order. Please have some order. You're right, Ted.
I'm just gonna.
No, you're
try to
fine,
get
you're fine.
Okay.
Jimmy, can you go back and close that door? Jesus.
It's
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah, that's my stuff.
Oh, I lost.
Okay.
Agenda back.
Okay, we're gonna call the regular meeting to order. It's 8:35.
Okay.
Let the minutes show that all are present. Do we have any public comment on any items not on the agenda? If not, approve the minutes from the March 15th, 2022 meeting
So moved. Second.
as printed. No changes?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now, approve the minutes from the April 2nd special board meeting. That's the one where we selected road bids.
There was only one typo on the second page under the discussion and possible action. Motion carried 5-0. It's MOTON.
Which
On the
Which
second
one?
page.
Okay.
Which one? Board of review, clerk, migrate email? What?
Motion, I spelled motion incorrectly. So I will take care of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's the only thing I,
I would then move correct.
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Interim police chief report. Maybe stand up and introduce yourself to the,
So those that don't know, I'm Jerry Hopperman, retired from the sheriff's office in 2019, and lucky enough to be.
Could you please start?
yeah, get on the mic. The board has met you, it's the constituents here.
So yeah, I started 2 weeks ago. It's been an interesting 2 weeks so far, getting caught up on everything, meeting with the officers, meeting with different organizations throughout the county and also the township. Met with Bill out at Enbridge, the pipeline. Talked with him for a while. He would like to have a training session with the other officers in the near future, just so we're all on the same page if something was to happen. I met with Paul, the chief at the Cambridge Fire Department. Had a short meeting, he was busy, so it was kind of cut short, but met with Department of Corrections, referenced the sex offenders that are housed on Highway A, got some updated information about them and the facilities, so.
How many do we have in there now?
Three.
Three?
Can house four, but currently we have three.
Okay.
So
They're getting along, evidently.
no calls out there recently.
We had
so.
two in one house at one time.
Yeah,
They
right
got
now
a
we
little
have two in
carried
one
away.
house and one in the other.
Yeah.
So, we did receive a check from the Boat Patrol audit reimbursement, it was $10,816.96. Recently received a new radar unit that I think Bruce, Chief Gondard, had ordered. That will be installed soon. I'm gonna have the mechanic at the sheriff's office install it, so he's pretty familiar with that. We recently received 4 new portables. With the county going to a new radio system, we got 4 new portables, and the 2 old ones I'm gonna be putting on Wisconsin surplus and selling those, so.
We need to change the unit in the squad as well.
I have to look into that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, okay. That ordered, do you know as of right?
I'm sorry?
Do you know if that's ordered yet, or?
It is not ordered.
Otherwise, looking at going to different patrol logs so that the chief can update you guys and, give you guys more particular information on what's happening every month. So you know more about what you're doing, so. That's all I got for
Okay.
tonight.
Any questions for Jerry?
No?
The thing I'm gonna be working on a lot in the next few weeks is our policy and procedures. Some of those are behind, so we'll get those caught up.
Are we up to date on training?
Yes,
Okay, good.
from what I can see right now. I have a meeting with the captain and the sergeant on Friday, so I'll know more on Friday.
Do you like your job description?
Yes.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thanks. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Did Jeff say anything about anything that he needs? We're having a meeting next week, Tuesday, on the road bids, so I'm sure he'd be.
Jeff and I have been looking at the request for proposal for the Hope Lake Road bipartisan infrastructure law grant.
There is an upcoming webinar.
Yeah.
Yes, on the 26th, I believe. So he's been working on brush pickup this week, but then he is also helping me with some road grants.
Thank you.
Okay. Clerk Treasurer's report.
Besides working on road grants, we had an election 2 weeks ago that we have finished processing because of supply chain issues. We have started ordering supplies for the August primary. I am almost finished with the ARPA grant. I finally have resolved the website issues that I was having. I heard from our IT person today. He is still waiting on Microsoft to get permissions to migrate our email over, so he is still working on that. Oh, and liquor license packets did go out last week.
And when is the primary?
The primary is August 9th.
Okay, any questions for Susan?
No.
No.
Okay.
Thank you
next
for
item.
everything you did on tonight's meeting, both of you. It was-
Yeah,
You're
a lot
welcome.
of
I learned a
work.
lot.
Well, and the grant writing.
Yes.
You've achieved a
Yes.
huge grant, and that's going to be very helpful. So thank you for working on
Yeah,
that.
that was, you did a good job on that.
That's the Park Road grant.
Right. Okay, next item, discussion and possible action on the request to donate $500 to Union Cemetery Association. We have that in the budget.
Yes, we do.
I'll make a motion that we donate $500 to the Union Cemetery Association.
Second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Discussion and possible action on request to donate $1,200 to North Oakland Cemetery Association. Is that the same as it was last year?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it's in the budget.
It is in the budget for $1,200, yes.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Second.
$1,200. Is it a donation?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Motion made and seconded
We
to
need the second.
donate $1,200 to North Oakland Cemetery
Oh,
Association.
sorry.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? For those of you that aren't familiar with town business, we're not only required by law to supply fire and EMS protection, we are also required by law to take care of cemeteries in the town. And Bill, I haven't seen you out there mowing, so we gotta pay him. That's all we can do. Okay, next item is discussion and possible action on the transfer of ARPA funds to the Cambridge Area Fire Commission for the purchase of radios in the amount of $30,000. We have to update the radios, and instead of taking the money out of the 5 municipalities, we wouldn't get that done, simply because Cambridge they don't have the money. And the total bill on it is $60,000. So Christiana has agreed to pick up the other $30,000. And if we'll donate 30, or give the 30,000 for the other half.
And this is,
Which if it went to the budget, the difference for us wouldn't be any different anyway. We still have 50% of that.
Does it qualify?
Yeah.
ARPA funds?
ARPA funds will qualify.
Because we're, and I remember if you made this meeting, but we're selecting the option for what's called the $10 million option that says we're not going to do revenue projections, we're just gonna say whatever we got, that's more accepting, we then are allowed to spend that for local government functions, which is a new ruling in the final rule. So we've selected that option, or we will be selecting that option, and then we can transfer money to another governmental entity for specific purposes.
Right. And fire departments are specifically listed.
The village and others get ARPA funds also. Why wouldn't we tap into all 5 instead of us burdening it most?
We're doing our fair share. Christiana's really taking care of those other folks, right?
Christiana's taking
Because
care of
they've got-
Cambridge, Lake Mills and Rockdale.
Because we would do 50% anyway.
get 50%
$60,000 is the total
Doesn't matter.
amount, so 30,000 would be our share anyway.
You can ask the other communities that.
We're still paying what we would have paid,
Right.
even if it was split up by percent.
The village doesn't have any ARPA funds left. They use it all on their water.
The water tower.
Yeah,
Pump
upgrade,
station.
yeah, pump upgrade. So. And if Christiana is willing to pick up that other tab, I think it's probably worthwhile doing.
Did anybody ask Rockdale or the rest?
Pardon me?
Did you ask Rockdale and the rest of them?
Christiana's picking up
Yeah.
the other half.
They're paying for Rockdale?
Yeah, they're paying for everybody else. They get more money.
Because our share is 30,000 no matter what anyway.
Yeah.
Because we pay half.
All right, no, I get that.
I would move we approve the transfer of ARPA funds to the commission for the purchase of radios in the amount of $30,000.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to transfer ARPA funds to the Cambridge Fire Commission in the amount of $30,000 for the purchase of radios. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, I don't see any correspondence.
We did not have any correspondence, sorry.
Okay, next item is approval of disbursements.
I'll make a motion that we approve disbursements, beginning with check number 42969, through and including check number 43016, in the aggregate amount of $200,000, $200,040.73.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve disbursements in the amount of $200,040.73. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Next meeting date, announcements first. Open book is on April 21st from noon to 5 p.m. And board of review is May 18th from 5 to 7. And that, I think that May 18th date changed, did it not, from what we originally said?
It was originally the 11th.
Yeah.
We've got a meeting on the 26th.
And the next meeting date is next Tuesday, the 26th, to award road bids.
Yeah, a lot of meetings.
On May 17th is our next regular board meeting, and both meetings begin at 7 o'clock.